Greetings again, and welcome to this broadcast of the Successful and Fulfilled Digital Summit. I'm Kim Warren Martin, and I'm thrilled that you're here. I also hope you're equally as excited about being here. Today's trainer is Leticia Candelaria, CEO and founder of Colibri Healing. She's a strong proponent of the power of positive thought, positive language, and positive energy to move beyond past hurts and disappointments, or what she calls colorful growth opportunities. She encourages new ways of looking at old pictures so that a new, more loving, more positive reality will take shape around you. So I present to you what she calls herself, my sister from another mister, international best-selling author, Leticia Candelaria, as she trains on the bounce back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leticia Candelaria, and I am so excited, very blessed, and looking forward to this time with you. I want to give special gratitude to all the organizers for including me in this Successful and Fulfilled Summit. And I'm excited to share with you my experience, knowledge, things that work, things that don't work. The title of my series is called The Bounce Back. So what does that mean? Well, it's 3 parts, guys, and it really comes down to basically just what you get back from the universe is what you put into the universe. And that doesn't necessarily stop with what you're saying. It also includes what you're thinking and feelings. We are all vibrational beings, and we create our day. We create every moment. And that's a hard one. That's a real hard one to accept. Sometimes, we don't want to take responsibility for the things that are happening. But we need to. And I think once we learn what it is that we're doing that's causing some of the effects that we're experiencing in our daily lives, then it just gets easier. It also becomes more fun to co-create and to just enjoy life and really experience all that there is for us out there. So how did this all happen? Well, I started paying attention to thoughts and vibration probably a good 10 years ago. I've had a lot of life lessons that have come forth and have revealed themselves to me. No one's a victim. We're not victims. We're all active participants in everything, really. And again, that's the rub. That's kind of hard to take sometimes, especially when things, don't go right and bad things do happen. The big question of the century, of the millennia, is why? Why did these things happen? There are certain things that are out of our control, but we do have more control over things that we experience daily than we think we do. Okay, so bounce back. I know we've all seen the game handball. I don't know if everybody plays handball. It's very vigorous. It takes 2, but you can also play solitaire. You can play it by yourself if you want to. And that little black ball that you slam up against that concrete wall is what comes back to you, right? That's it's a game. You get the ball, you go into this room, you're ready to win, you're ready to compete, or even if it gets against yourself, like I said. But you take this ball, you hit it with the palm of your hand, and it goes up against the wall and it comes back to you. So the whole point of the game is to increase your focus, your speed, and concentration. Okay, you don't want to not hit the ball. That's the whole point of it. You want to have it come back to you. The bounce back is really what we're going to talk about today. And the bounce back could be anything, guys. It's anything. It's everything that you think, everything you say, how you're feeling, like I mentioned earlier. So what do you, I had this conversation with a really good friend of mine just a few weeks ago, and we had lunch. I hadn't seen her in a while, and we were reconnecting, and we had lunch together, and I said, so how's it going? What's going on? Tell me everything. And she, just started talking and her day and her job, and she just is not happy and she's ready to leave and she's not sure what she wants to do, but she's kind of sure what she wants to do, but she's not sure yet, really. There was a lot of, up and down, and just back and forth, back and forth. And I listened and I really paid attention to what she was saying. And she was eating lunch. And of course, we were having lunch together. So she's talking and and I'm watching her. And after about 40 minutes, she said, so how are you doing? And I said, well, can I, can I share with you kind of what I just heard you say? Because I want to finish, finish your story first before we move on. She said, yeah, sure. And I said, well, first of all, how was your lunch? And she goes, oh, and she had to think about it. She couldn't remember. She was saying, it was okay. I think it was okay, kind of salty, whatever. And I said, well, because you didn't really chew your food. And then she said, what do you mean? And I said, you were so excited and you were so passionate and you were telling me about how you're not happy at your job. I said, and you were using a lot of really strong, very passionate words to describe why you're so unhappy. I said, and it's been going on for a while. I said, and I know you're not happy there. I said, so let's try to put it in a different context. And I invited her to just listen. And I said, imagine your life, imagine your day, your morning. You get up and we have this empty little ball. And everything we think and everything we say we put into this ball. Okay. So, oh gosh, it's 6 o'clock already. I'm still tired. And we're thinking these thoughts, right? This is something we're thinking. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I don't want to, know. Oh, what day is it? Oh, it's Wednesday. Ooh, got another 2 days after today. We're putting that energy into this ball. Then we get out of bed. My back hurts. I hate this mattress. I need to buy another one, but I don't have the money to buy another one. So here we go, right? We're spiraling. And we're putting that into this little bowl. And then we take a shower. Maybe the water's too cold. Maybe the water's too hot. Maybe we're running out of shampoo and we make a mental note. I got to go get shampoo. Okay, I don't have the money right now, so I'm going to have to wait. Great. More stuff putting into this little bowl. So are you following? Okay, this is what we do without paying any attention. We don't even think about what it is that we're thinking. This is a whole conversation. We've had this in our head, whole conversation, not talking to anybody yet. And if we are talking to somebody, then it's like, I just sleep, I don't know, I didn't sleep very good. I hate this bed. You took the blankets, or, somebody threw the dog, or why aren't you getting up, or whatever. And we're just putting all this into our ball. So by the time 8 o'clock rolls around and you're getting in the car, you drop your keys. You forget your phone, your purse, something falls, right? You put it on the seat and then you have to brake real fast and your purse falls forward and now everything's falling all over the car. It's one thing after the other. And basically, we have just filled our little ball about halfway full with nothing but negative things. So, what are you doing in your morning? How do you start your day? Do you start your day with, thank God I'm awake? Or is it, God, I'm awake, right? How are you starting your morning? What are your first thoughts? Thank you for today. Universe, source, creator, God, Abba, whatever. Or good morning, honey. I love you. Or good morning, sweetheart, if you have children. Or hello, Chloe, if you have a little dog. What are you doing in the morning? How are you spending those first 5 minutes? That makes a big difference, because that's the foundation, that's the building of all the things that you're putting in this little ball. So now we're going to fast forward. Okay, you get to work. Maybe you get to work on time, but you're still rushing in. Your feet are hurting in these brand new shoes because they're too high, whatever. And then you're starting your day. You're checking emails, voicemails, you're getting text messages. Things are happening. And at the end of your day, all that is bouncing back. It starts bouncing back the minute you wake up. So be careful. The bounce back, today's lesson really is paying attention whatever it is you're putting into this ball that you are going to throw with all of your might out into the universe, and it will come back to you. So what are we putting out there? Okay, you can start your day a lot of different ways. You can even start your morning, or you can start your afternoon. There's always an opportunity to have a reboot. Okay, just know that you can reboot. I remember for many years, I was rushed constantly, always rushing, and there was never enough time in the day. And I remember saying that to anyone who asked me, "How are you doing?" I just wish there was more hours in the day. How are you doing? Great, yeah, but I just wish there was more hours in the day. And I remember telling my daughter that, "Mom, can we do this? Mom, can we go here? Mom, can you sit and watch a movie with me?" "No, Mika, I can't. There just aren't enough hours in the day." So that became my reality. There was never enough hours in the day. I was always tired, frustrated, and it was everybody and everything else. It was their fault, my job's fault. It was I volunteered for this day. I really didn't want to do this, but I volunteered anyway. So now I have one more thing to do. There's just no time, and there's not enough time in the day. And that lasted for a really long time. And then one day I had time. I was forced to take time. I got sick. I didn't have, to rush. I couldn't rush. And when you're bored, you don't know, nobody's answering their phone. You're calling and calling and calling. Nobody's answering their phone. And I realized, because I was forced to take this time to think. And, it's interesting when the student's ready, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And I started finding a lot of information that was just coming to me. And I had been praying for that. I've been praying for something to be different. And I expected it to come from outside. And it's not outside. It's inside. That's the key. It's inside. That's what this whole summit is about. How can you live your best life? How can you walk in your purpose? How can you stand in your integrity and be all that you are? Well, it starts with lots of different things. And so I hope that today, this bounce back session, you realize and take a minute to think about what you're putting into your ball. And go back to my story. I talked to my friend who was a business partner also in business with me for many years. So we have this really great relationship. And I said, I really want to help you shift your energy because you're not feeling good. And she goes, my stomach hurts. I'm really not feeling very good. I don't know what was in that burrito. I said, well, there wasn't anything bad in your burrito. You just were seasoning it with a bunch of negative talking, using words like can't, won't, impossible, maybe, I don't think so. It will never. It's taking forever. Okay, phrases, words, they have negative. They're negative. They're not powerful words. They're not words that are going to get you from A to B. They're words that are going to keep you stuck. But when I was talking to her about it, I said, I've listened and I heard you, and you're really not you don't feel like you're moving forward. She said, no, I'm stuck. And I said, but don't you want to move forward? She said, yes, of course I want to move forward. I said, how does it feel when you move forward? She goes, well, I don't know. I haven't moved forward. I said, well, just what do you think it would feel like if you moved forward in your thinking, in the way you talk? She said, well, I probably would feel free. I would probably feel relieved. I would probably feel stress-free. And I said, good, now we're on to something. I said, the bounce back is things that we put into this little ball of our life, our own reality, that we don't consider very important, when in reality it really is, because it comes back to us with a lot more velocity. And so I told her, I said, I would much rather have glitter and rainbows and cotton candy come back at me than, sour stuff and negative things and smelly things and yucky things, and because I wasn't paying attention. So we shifted. We shifted her energy, we shifted her focus, and we started talking about what she wanted. And we didn't focus anymore on what she didn't want. We focused on what she wanted, because her bounce backs she needed to change it. You needed to make that small shift. It's not big, it's not impossible. So the question for you is, where do you want to be? What does that feel like to you? You know, what resonates with you when you think about your perfect job or your perfect situation or having the money you need? It all comes back to a human feeling. It all comes back to an emotion. Is it relief? Is it joy? Is it happiness? Is it giddiness? Is it excitement? Are you eager? Are you joyful? So if you feel these things and you think about it in those ways, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, if you attach positive energy toward it and to it, your bounce back is going to be positive. So you don't know what job you want. You don't know what your dharma is yet, right? Your dharma is basically your gift. It's what you were meant to do in this life. A lot of people don't know what their dharma is, and they don't even know how to find their dharma. Well, just know that you're going to find it. Start there. It will reveal itself to you, whatever that is, and you will be open and receptive to it. So let's say you do know what your dharma is, and you're going to be the best inspirational speaker in the world, and that's what you want to do. That is your calling, that is your talent, that is your God-given gift, that is something that just excites you. But right now, you're an administrative assistant in an office, you really don't like it, you want to travel, you haven't been anywhere, you've never left your hometown, whatever, okay? Take those negative things that you don't like and try just make that tiny, tiny little shift. And that is how your bounce back is going to change. So let's say you are an administrative assistant in a town, you've never left town, you're still there. If you have these big dreams and these big goals, well, try to find something that you really like about that job. Maybe it's the security. You feel safe there. It feels good to walk in and know that people know me. It feels comfortable to have my office exactly how I like it. It feels great knowing that if something happens and I need to rush out, they know where I'm going and they know that I'll be right back, because I've developed these relationships over all these years. There's a lot of benefit to that, but there's also the excitement of something new coming, the eagerness of traveling and getting on a plane and getting matching luggage and all that fun stuff. And then when you start to put that into the little ball and you get excited about the day and you don't know what it's going to bring, the bounce back, what comes back to you is going to be ideas, creativity, excitement. And pretty soon that you're going to be clicking online, you're going to find an amazing opportunity, or something's just going to resonate with you. You're going to find something on YouTube, or Amazon's going to send you an ad, a offer for a book that talks about how to be your own boss or how to be an entrepreneur. Or do you see what I'm saying? It just will open up for you. It does. Everything does. Everything that you put out does come back. That's the bounce back. It's law. It's just the law of attraction. It's law. It's physics. So think about what are some of the things that you think about the first 17 seconds of the morning when you're brand new. You're just waking up. Your conscious mind has had a rest. You have nothing. You haven't even stepped out. You haven't even put one foot outside the bed yet. What are you thinking in those first 17 seconds? Because those 17 seconds won't fly. 17 seconds turns into 35 seconds. 35 seconds turns into 52 seconds. And on, 69. Okay, it just keeps going. So what is it that you're thinking about? What are you putting in to that little handball that you're going to throw out into the universe and expect to get back? Is it going to be thank you for today? Thank you for this amazing opportunity to be of service. Thank you for my house. I loved my bed. My bed is so comfortable. I'm so happy and grateful that I have my bed. Or looking at your spouse. You don't even have to say anything. You just say, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being so loving. You have a dog. Thank you for protecting us over, all night long and watching the house. If you have children, okay, and you don't have to say these things, guys. It's your thought. It's a thought. A thought has energy. Words are even more powerful. If you are going to say anything, what are you saying? What are you saying to the people around you? How do you start a text message? If you're going to text your sister in the morning and you're replying to her, that's one thing I've noticed. That's another thing I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about. Bounce back also has a lot to do with just courtesies, please and thank you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Ending with I love you or have a great day. They go a long way. And that comes back also. Somebody will treat you with just as much courtesy as you did. So, and that just, it's like it's like throwing a rock into the pond, it comes back. It just reverberates and reverberates and reverberates. So the bounce back theory is something that I have challenged, that I have learned a lot from. I spent 2 years in Mexico. I was a single mom for many years. I have a beautiful daughter, 28 now. I've been a business owner. I've written books. I've traveled. I'm a vocalist. I've done a lot of amazing things. But I've also had my challenges and colorful opportunities for remembering my highest self. And a lot of that has to do with being really honest about what I put into my ball every morning. And there are days when nothing but good things come back to me because I was mindful and I paid attention. But there have been many days where I wasn't so happy. There wasn't a lot of positive going in. And then by 3:00, I had cancellations and contracts and I couldn't find my keys and I lost that last $20 somewhere, couldn't find it. Or my car broke down, or somebody called and needed something and I couldn't help them out and I felt really guilty about it. Or I got in an argument with somebody. And, we're not victims. Nobody's a victim. I think we all are active participants. We just don't realize that we are. And so it's easier to point the finger. But the bounce back, guys, it makes a huge difference. And it makes a difference not only to you, but also to the world around you and those who are in your life, those who are trying to be a part of your life, those who are guiding you. So just, I think if there's any takeaway that I could say, for you this during the summit is you're here for a reason. You are the student and you are ready. And so all these teachers are coming. We're all sharing a little bit of information for you. And some of it's going to resonate and some of it's not. But regardless, fill your little ball with glitter and sparklies and rainbows and unicorns and confetti and nothing but sweet stuff, and watch how beautiful everything is just going to unfold for you in your life, in your work life, in your spirit life, in your personal and intimate life, even in your physical health. I've struggled for years and years with different things, and I think when I am really, really negative, and no one would ever say to me what I think, right? We all have that little voice in our head. I don't think anybody in the world would be as cruel as we are to ourselves sometimes. But that holds true with the bounce back also. Okay, so be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with your thoughts of yourself and your self-image and how you fit. Everyone, there's something and someone for everyone in this world. And I think sometimes we're not the nicest. I remember one time I had one of my teachers said, Letty, you got to just treat yourself like you're your very best friend. And just watch how much better you're going to feel because you're so nice to everyone else. But are you as nice to yourself as you are to Bethy or Kim or Stephanie or, anyone else in the world? And oftentimes we're not. And that's the bounce back. That also is the bounce back. So take it, learn from it. I try it out, test it out. Give yourself 7 days. I challenge you. Give yourself 7 days. And every morning for the first 5 minutes, it only takes 5 minutes. I think about all the good things that you expect that day. Make it your expectation. Today's going to be a great day. I am so excited for today. I love my bed. My bed loves me. I am a money magnet. I'm an opportunity magnet. I'm a hope dealer. I'm a life changer. I'm a dream weaver. I'm smart. I'm beautiful. I am love. I am loved. I forgive. I am forgiven. Whatever those your affirmations are, and those things that you think in your mind, thank you for the food I'm going to eat today. Thank you for the way my body is going to break it down and use this energy and fuel. Thank you for all the beautiful people I'm going to encounter today. And just watch how your week goes. Pay attention. By that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock lull, when you need the coffee or you need a hug, one or the other, you're going to get it. You will get it. It'll give it. The universe gives it. It's not even a gift. You just attracted it to yourself. And I did this. I did it. I did it in Mexico. I lived there for 2 years. I sold everything. I went through a really hard time. And I decided that I wasn't going to be afraid, and I was just going to do something bold and do something different. I was going to find another ball, and I was going to put something else in there. And I could be anything. Well, I didn't need to be in Mexico for that to happen. I just had to make the choice to step forward in faith and not stay stuck in fear. That's the difference. I didn't need to cross countries to do it, but I didn't know it at the time. So try it. Challenge yourself. Think nothing but positive things in the morning. Remember that whatever you put into your little ball, you're throwing it. You're the one throwing it. That's the rub here. You get it, you fill it up with stuff, and then you throw it with all your might out into the universe. And when it comes back at you, we don't know why. Well, I don't know why my day's going wrong. What happened? What the hell? Well, whose fault is it? Well, we want to just, it was the dog's fault. Oh my gosh, well, it was the car. And it's the stupid job I have, or it's my boyfriend, or it's my girlfriend. No, it's not. It's not. It's us. It's us. It starts here. So, like I said, I would much rather know that whatever I'm going to be tossing out into the universe, nothing but glitter and sparklies is going to come back. Cotton candy and cotton ball blanket. That's it. It's nothing hard, nothing mean, nothing frustrating, nothing that's going to hurt my feelings, because I've been gentle with what I put in. And I'm an active participant. We all are. It's us. It's our show. It's my play. It's, I can't blame anyone else if I have a bad day. I can, but that's not really fair, and that's not really true. So the bounce back theory, guys, try it. Give yourself 7 days. I guarantee you it will make the world a difference. Then you will, when you're ready to play and get up every morning and you're ready to face the day, you're going to face it with a little more gratitude and a little more gentleness, because you know that what you put out, you're inevitably going to get it back. So I hope you enjoyed today. I look forward to hearing from you. Please text Leti, Leti, to 408-913-6963. Once again, text Leti to 408-913-6963. I will gift you a 15 to 20-minute consultation assessment on the words you're using to describe your life, your day, who you are, how we can shift that energy into something that works for you in a more positive way, how you can actively co-create and participate in the life that you want for yourself and the life that you want to provide for those around you. What experience do you want in this world? And you don't have to know the how, guys. You don't have to have the how. You just have to have the desire and the willingness to try something different. Get your ball ready. Remember, put in nothing but good things, and then watch how it all just showers down upon you. Nothing but beautiful things. So I'm going to leave you with this one saying, and I heard this years and years and years ago. And you're gonna see a lot of different teachers at this summit. And just know that we all come with an open heart. We're all here to share. We all want you to be the best self and live the best life that you can. Which is why we're all so excited to participate in this amazing event, especially as women. Okay, we need to remember that we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit to. We bring life into the world, so it doesn't stop with the baby, guys. It's your bounce back. You're putting life out. You're bringing life back. You're rejuvenating. You're celebrating. You're acknowledging one another and those around you. And women have that. We have that gift. We do it sometimes without even thinking. But there's a saying. Sometimes we think we're just one person in this great big world, and we're little, and we don't matter, and we're small, and we feel like no one sees us. When in reality, we mean the world to one person. So who's that going to be today? Who's that one person going to be today? I hope it starts with you. And then I hope it just radiates out. Because you do make a difference. We all make a difference. And we can make a difference. It starts now. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your summit. Namaste.
Hi, I'm Kim Warren Martin, and I'm the founder of Successful and Fulfilled, where our mission is to help women to embrace the courage I know you already have to step out of your comfort zone and live life the way you want to live, not just the way you're expected to live. It's not about leaving your job, your family, or school, or any of that. It's about launching into what I call the #undeniable you. So if you want to be a part of a mastermind and enjoy the type of training and support you're receiving now, where experts talk about components of self-mastery, business principles, and wealth building, if you're looking to make sure you're connected to a resource that is all about supporting you to live a successful and fulfilled lifestyle, come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. I want to meet with you to make sure it's a good fit. If you want to be a part of this movement of individuals dedicated to not only the emotional state of happiness, but also the soulful state of fulfillment, I invite you to a private conversation to make sure you learn more about us and we learn more about you. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. It is a great way for me to learn more about what you want to be successful, about what you need to be fulfilled, and what's most important to you in your life. This is a highly customized membership, so we are very selective. And so I want to meet with you to be sure it's a good fit for both of us. If you're ready to share your talents, your skills, your treasure, your expertise, so someone else can live a successful and fulfilled life, this is the place to be. Maybe you want to share your story, or maybe you're called to serve others. If you want to collaborate, network, and connect with a group of women who have this one guiding belief: you don't have to sacrifice your success for fulfillment, nor do you have to sacrifice your fulfillment for success. You can #have it all, as long as you're the one who defines what it all is. So I invite you to come over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com. Make sure you register and I'll see you there. Now you may be wondering, why do I care? Why do I do what I do? Well, my big why is to help women all over the world live life the way they want to live, the way they're called to live, the way they're created to live, the way they're purposed to live, and the way they're destined to live, not just the way they're expected to live. George Washington Carver said, "No individual has any right to come into the world and go out of it without leaving distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it. Growing up, I was absolutely convinced that singing and dancing on Broadway and being in movies in Hollywood were my distinct and legitimate reasons for being here. I could already see my name in lights and experiencing the costume changes, etc., etc. I even planned to go to performing arts school for college, but was waiting on the perfect time to announce it to my parents. Now, when I was a senior in high school, my parents invited me into the living room one night because they had an announcement of their own. They said that according to the Wall Street Journal, engineering and computing careers would be some of the top careers of the future. So because I was the oldest and because I was a role model, they were going to send me to engineering school. Now, all I could think of, my 18-year-old self was just like, how am I going to get an Oscar at engineering school? Literally, I felt like my entire life rested on that moment. Now, no amount of respectful rejecting could change their mind. So I went to school. I went to engineering school, and 2 years and 8 months later, I came out with a Bachelor of Science degree. Yes, I did, in a short time. And what I thought I had was my freedom. I thought that paper gave me my freedom and would please my parents. But I got a job, a real job. The money got good. I got promoted. The perks were awesome. I did well. And I was a wonderful role model. And my sisters followed closely in my footsteps. So there I was, a very artsy, analytical person in a scientific, technical world. And someone realized that about me and called me up one night and invited me to run the Women's Initiative for this multinational corporation. So my role was to help women get to the top on the technical side and on the business side. So I thought about it a couple of days and I said yes. And I did that globally. And I was literally told I changed the face of the corporation. One day I was working with a woman who actually told me no. She didn't want to get to the top. Now, I was absolutely shocked, but deep inside, I totally understood her. And all I could hear was my dream asking me, Kim, you spent all this time helping all these women get to where we want them to be, but you never stop to ask yourself, where do you want to be? I had completely lost sight of my dream. And at that moment, I realized that the only thing the role model in me was demonstrating was how to live life the way I was expected to live, not the way I wanted to live. I was successful, yes, but I was unfulfilled. And for me, that was a defining moment. You see, I still love the arts, but what I realized is that the singing, the dancing, the acting were more about freedom for me, not entertainment. Freedom of expression, freedom of being, freedom of doing. And working with women all over the world, I have come to realize that every woman was born to live in a soulful state of fulfillment. And ladies, we can do it because fulfillment is not a fantasy, it's a formula. And what I do know is I am not alone. There are other women out there like me who want to live a successful and fulfilled life. So is that you? If so, here's what I want you to do. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com and let's have a conversation. I really, really look forward to seeing you there. Enjoy the Did you know that you were hardwired for success from birth? And because of that, you are designed to be on offense, advancing, moving forward. Now, I don't know about you, but that is energizing and exciting to me. Welcome to today's training in the Successful and Fulfilled Digital Summit. I'm Kim Warren-Martin, and I'm truly energized and really excited about today's faculty trainer, Chris White, founder of the Extraordinary Society. He's a real estate investor, entrepreneur, author, and mental toughness trainer. Chris has discovered through much trial and error that the most effective path to success inside any business is to execute a strategy of preeminence that positions you inside your market as the best and only option for your prospects. He's a 7-figure entrepreneur, and most importantly, he loves empowering people to think differently so they too can #make their mark. Welcome to the mic, my friend and business partner, Chris White, as he trains on how to transform into the best version of yourself achieve mastery, and live a truly limitless life. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, well, welcome to this very special workshop. My name is Chris White, and I gotta tell you, I'm so excited to be present with you today here inside of the Successful and Fulfilled Summit. And I'm most excited because the topic that we're gonna talk about today, I believe, is the single most important topic we can discuss to set the foundation for you to go out into the world and become the best version of yourself. Okay, so my challenge for you today is that I've tried to take a full day seminar worth of material and training and boil it down into this time block that we have together. So my promise to you is I'm gonna bring you my best. I'm gonna talk fast, but I'm gonna talk with clarity, and I'm gonna do my best to put you in a position to win big inside of this success model that I'm about to walk you through. So because we have so much to cover, if you're ready, then I'm ready. Let's go ahead and let's dive in. And as you can see here on the screen, what I want to talk to you about today is how to transform into the best version of yourself so that you can achieve mastery and live a truly limitless life. Now, I've been doing entrepreneurship for the last 17 years. I've worked with some of the top entrepreneurial minds out there, people like Tony Robbins, people like Chet Holmes, people like Michael Port, just to name a few. I've got a guy I'm working with right now who last year alone did over $400 million into his business, okay? So I've seen a lot of what works and what doesn't work, and I do believe wholeheartedly that this is the foundational topic that's gonna put you in a position to go out into the world and to win big, okay? Now, this training is gonna be valuable for you because it's going to equip you to first and foremost step into your own true power. Okay, that's my number one priority with you today, is to empower you to step into your true power. But I also want you to understand this training is going to equip you to empower others to do the same. And that's where the magic really is out in the world, when we're all working together to inspire each other, to breathe life into each other so that together we can all go to the mountaintop. So I want to encourage you to learn this training. I want to encourage you to make this training your own training. Go ahead and take it, swipe it, do whatever you need to do with it, make it your own training, and then use it with your kids, use it with your spouse, use it with your clients, use it with your team members, use it with anybody that you have the opportunity to use it with. All right? Now, here's the good news with what we're going to talk about today. I want you to hear me right from the get-go here tell you that you were hardwired for success from birth. It's absolutely 100% fact. Your essence is success. Now, it's important for you to hear me say that, and I want to really encourage you to step into that belief with me right now if you're challenged by that. But I want you to hear me say that coming out of the gates, because I know as entrepreneurs or as people who are in corporate America and we're high performers, high achievers, when we're swinging for the fences every day, and that's my baseball analogy, swinging for home runs, when we're swinging for the fences, when we're going for gold, we're naturally going to come up short. We're going to fail at times, and sometimes we can get into a rut where we're working so hard to achieve goals and to hit milestones, and it feels like nothing is working. And we can start to self-sabotage and start to step into a false belief that is counter to what I'm telling you now. So I just want to anchor this seed into your mind from the get-go that you, my friend, were hardwired for success from birth. I'm actually going to prove that to you in this workshop today, but I want you to hear me say it here right out of the gates. Now, if this is true, if what I'm sharing with you is indeed true, then my question is this: why are so many people playing it safe on the way to their deathbed? If we were hardwired for success, why are so many people playing it safe on the way to their deathbed and leaving this life with so much regret? Well, here's why I believe it is. I believe it's because most people don't have an accurate understanding of the model or of a model for transforming, right? For transforming in order to achieve self-mastery in a way that's going to lead them to living the limitless life that I believe we were all uniquely designed to live. Okay, so I'm going to share that model with you today. And as I do, I want to remind you again, and I'll do this many times during the workshop, that you, my friend, were hardwired from birth for success. Okay, so this isn't about learning the essential qualities of success. This is something I really want you to get into your mind so that we can have a paradigm shift today. It's not so much about learning the essential qualities of success, whether that's here in my workshop or whether that's in another workshop you're watching or at any time going forward in your life. It's not about learning the essential qualities of success. It's more about remembering them, okay? Because again, you are hardwired from birth for success. If that's true, then your essence is success. So it's more about remembering the qualities of success than it is about learning success. Okay, now, why do you want to listen to me on this subject? It's actually a great question. Well, if I can't bribe you to listen to me by putting up a cute picture of my 2-year-old daughter, Vivian, and my beautiful wife, Andrea, if that's not enough to bribe you to listen to me, then let me just tell you that in my prior careers, I've been a decorated military officer with the United States Air Force, where I went through extensive leadership development training. I've been a top-rated professor of leadership and peak performance from the University of Colorado Boulder. My passion is leadership and peak performance. My passion is really stepping into the trenches of life with people like you to empower you with what I've learned in my life to achieve success, so that together we can do something bigger with the ideas that we can share. And so this is obviously my opportunity to share some ideas with you that I've been fortunate enough to gather along my 17-year journey here at the age of 40, where I've been able to work with just some extraordinary human beings. So that's my pitch on why you should listen to me. Hopefully I was successful in that, but let's keep rocking here. So before we dive in to the content here, we have to address the big elephant in the room question whenever we're talking about a topic like this. And that elephant in the room question is this: which is more important, mindset or skill set? This is an age-old question. It gets debated all the time. When I work with clients, this comes up all the time. Which is more important as a priority? Okay, because they're both important. Mindset's important, skill set's important. We're not here to argue that one of them is not important, but the question often arises, which one takes priority in the importance conversation, mindset or skill set? Okay, now I'm not going to give you the answer to that right now, at least my answer. I'm going to let you wrestle with that question yourself, and we'll come back to it here in a little bit. Okay, so here's what I want to dive in with you as kind of a core model of success for transforming into the best version of yourself so that you can achieve self-mastery. So you can see here on the screen, what are you looking at? You're looking at a model that represents your 3 primary zones in life when it comes to achieving high performance. So you can see there in the middle of the model is that white circle. That's going to represent your comfort zone. I like to call this your normal. Okay, we all have a comfort zone. We all have a normal that we've just established just from living the life that we've lived. Okay, now you can see the red rings there. Those red rings represent what we call liminal space. That's your liminal space zone. What is liminal space? Liminal space is like that unknown space between where you are now and where you want to be. Right? It's like going into the darkness and you don't know what's there until you go into the darkness. Okay? And then you've got your prosperity zone represented by the turquoise color. And one thing I want to point out here is that your true power, your essence, lives in your prosperity zone. Okay, so I've made an intentional effort here with the sizes of these circles to do my best to represent to you that your comfort zone, where you are right now in your life, your comfort zone, and whatever you've achieved, and I'm sure you've achieved a lot of extraordinary things, I'm here to challenge you to believe that the true power that you were designed to live under and to live through in your life, and the prosperity that's waiting for you is like 100, 1,000x what you're currently experiencing. Okay. Now, what we know is the only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be starts with your own thinking, which is why we're here inside of this workshop, hanging out today and talking about these ideas. And we also know that in order to get from where you are to where you want to be, you have to take action, right? Because nothing positive can happen until action is taken. Now, it sounds obvious to say that. It almost sounds silly to say that, and trivial, even elementary to say that. But it's important to be mindful of this concept, because sitting here listening to me on this workshop is not taking action, okay? This is an important part of the transformation process, to gather new ideas, but nothing positive can happen until you take action. Now, because we've all established this comfort zone, what we need to understand when we start taking action is we're going to have to willingly press into liminal space. We have to willingly press into liminal space in order to get to our prosperity zone. Okay, so I like to look at this as going from one breakthrough to the next breakthrough to the next breakthrough, and that's why you see multiple, red concentric rings here. Because as you're pushing through liminal space, you're going to be expanding your comfort zone, which obviously means you're going to be living in a place of discomfort. You're going to be willingly inviting discomfort into your life, and the reality is, you can't live in discomfort permanently. You've got to push through that zone of discomfort, that liminal space zone, get to that breakthrough, enjoy your prosperity, establish a new normal or establish a new comfort zone, and then you've got to take action. I believe this is how we were wired to live as human beings, to be in a constant state of action, to be constantly moving forward from one zone of prosperity through liminal space, creating a new comfort zone, celebrating our victories, taking a bit of a breath, and then getting back into action, going back on offense. Okay, now, why is this so important? It's because what we know as entrepreneurs and even as just high performers out in the world, what we know is that the market rewards value. What we talk to our entrepreneur clients about a lot is that money doesn't lead, money always follows value. And so the more value that you're putting into the marketplace, whether that's as an entrepreneur through your company, or whether that's in corporate America, just being a leader inside of that environment that you're in, the more value you're putting into the environment that you're living in on a day-to-day basis, the more that you're being rewarded with prosperity, okay, whatever that looks like. Now, what's important to understand when you're looking at this model, and this is a model I really want you to sear into your mind, just like to get that photographic snapshot of this in your mind, because what this model is really telling you is that everything you want is on the other side of tension, number one, but number two, pushing through the tension is a non-negotiable, okay? So a lot of people are out there looking for the shortcut. I know I'm looking for the shortcut a lot. I mean, I'm a human being just like anyone else. I like to live in my comfort zone. I like to find shortcuts. Okay, but what's been studied and proven over and over again is that you have to be willing to run into the tension and just accept that the tension is part of the transformation process. Okay, it's like a butterfly, right? That's transforming, and it's in the tension. It's going through liminal space. It's fighting and it's fighting to get out of that cocoon, and it's that tension that really transforms that caterpillar into the butterfly, into that beautiful thing it becomes when it leaves the cocoon. That's the same process we're talking about here. I often like to tell my clients that the strongest steel must go through the hottest fire. It's a non-negotiable, right? If you want strong steel, you got to put it through the hottest fire. It's the same thing here. If you really sincerely desire to transform into the best version of yourself so that you can achieve self-mastery and live a limitless life, then the only way to do that is through the tension, okay? And I'm here to tell you, as I've been telling you, you were wired for success. You were wired for this, okay? You were 100% wired for this. Now, what I want to talk to you about is why you were set up to fail, okay? why as either as someone who's an entrepreneur going out into the world to create high performance goals and results for yourself, or whether you're inside of corporate America looking to do that. We've been wired to fail, and I want to help you understand why that is. Okay. Now, before I share that model with you, I want to prove to you that you were indeed hardwired for success. So this is a fun exercise that I want to encourage you to use again in your own life with people that you've been called to lead or given privilege to lead. This is an exercise I actually did this morning with a group of entrepreneurs all over the country. So I'm actually going to do this exercise for you because we don't have time. Typically, this would take like 2 to 3 hours to really do it, but I want to walk you through it to really help you understand why you were hardwired for success. And so what we do in this exercise is the first thing we do is we talk about what are the qualities of a highly successful person. Okay. So ask yourself right now, what are the qualities of a highly successful person? Now, if we were doing this inside of a workshop where we had more time, we'd start to brainstorm these out on a piece of paper. So what I want to do is I want to show you what a group of 27 high-performing entrepreneurs came up with this morning when we were doing this together. Okay, so I'm just going to pop these up on the screen. And this was just one of those exercises where we just said, hey, throw out a word. When you think of a highly successful person, just go ahead and throw a word out. So you can see these were the words that were thrown out: discipline, internal, humble, goal-oriented, action-oriented, positive attitude, always learning, self-learner, curious. You can see all of these qualities of a highly successful person. Now, you may be thinking of some other qualities in your mind that you don't see in this list, and that's great. There's no really right or wrong answer here, but I'm going to make a point in a minute that's going to expand your thinking around why you were hardwired for success. So whatever answers that you're coming up with right now, if they're not on this list, just kind of write those down or just kind of keep those locked into your mind. This is the first half of the exercise, okay? The second half of the exercise is this. Ask yourself, what are the qualities of a 4-year-old? Okay, what are the qualities of a 4-year-old? So again, this morning we were doing this exercise with this group of high-performing entrepreneurs, and we brainstormed a list, and I grabbed a bunch of them from the list, and here was what this group came up with. Qualities of a 4-year-old. Independent, curious, weird, risk taker, happy, carefree, loving, relentless, love to learn, creative, sponge, spontaneous, quick to forgive, internal, problem solver, high energy, persistent. Now, what I want you to recognize here is how many of these qualities of the 4-year-old are the similar qualities of a highly successful person. Are you seeing the correlation here? Hopefully you are. So what I'm attempting to establish with you here, my friend, is that you were hardwired for success from birth. When you came out of the womb, you were indeed hardwired for success. Now, the next layer of this exercise that provides some real awakening for a lot of people is to really go down each one of these brainstormed qualities and ask yourself, is this an attitude or is this a skill? Is this an attitude or is this a skill? Okay, now if we had more time, we'd talk through all of these. I'm just going to throw up here on the screen what we brainstormed through this morning when we were doing this exercise, okay? And here's what we came up with. Is this an attitude or a skill? I just want you to look at the list here. And again, there's no, you may have your list a little bit different when it comes to attitude versus skill, okay? Some of these are an attitude and a skill. You can see like discipline. You could say, hey, that's an attitude, but it's also a skill, right? Being a self-learner, it's like an attitude, like you have to want to be a self-learner, right? But then it's also a skill to learn how to do that effectively. Okay, so I'm not saying we got this perfectly when we labeled attitude or skill, but what I really want to point out is look at the comparison between how many of these are attitudes, or we could say mindset, versus how many of them are skills, okay? So I'm providing you evidence here to not only make the argument that you, my friend, were hardwired for success from birth, but number two, I'm making the argument that mindset, your attitude, your mindset is the priority when building the foundation of success. Okay? And this is one of the ways we arrive at that conclusion when we ask, and we've done this exercise over and over and over and over again. And whenever we ask, what are the qualities of a highly successful person? It always comes out heavily in favor of attitudes versus skills. Okay, so it's food for thought, something to wrestle with and process. This would be a great activity, like I said, to do with your spouse, with your kids, with your team members, with your clients, really just to anchor into their mind this awakening, if they need to have it, that, wow, not only was I wired for success from birth, but success is built on a platform of mindset or of attitude. Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, what I want to establish here in the next part of the workshop is I want to help you understand, why we were programmed, or maybe you could say reprogrammed, right? Because if we were hardwired from birth, if we were hardwired from birth to be successful, if you can see here in the center of this diagram, this blue circle, that our essence is success, then somewhere along the way, I'm making the argument that we got programmed to fail as high-achieving entrepreneurs or high-achieving people, even in corporate America, or really just high-achieving in any area of our lives, okay? And I want to walk you through that with this model that you're looking at on the screen. So you can see here, we've got this dotted line through the middle of the screen, this dotted red line, and you've got the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Now, what studies have proven is that we are our conscious mind about 5 to 10% of the time. Like, our conscious mind is in control 5 to 10% of the time. It's our unconscious mind that's really controlling what we do, okay? And again, understanding that our essence, our true self, our true power, our essence is success. Okay, so let's look at how this plays out, right? So we're born into this world hardwired for success. And then the world starts programming us, okay? And as we're being programmed, we're developing thoughts, okay? And those thoughts in our conscious mind, as we think about them over and over and over, the repetition of those thoughts over and over and over and over, the repetition is creating the unconscious mind, right? And in this case, your thoughts are creating your beliefs, okay? The repetition of your thoughts are creating your beliefs. From there, your thoughts are driving your emotions. Your conscious thoughts are driving your conscious emotions, and that's ultimately creating your unconscious attitude, okay? A lot of us are just carrying around these unconscious attitudes where somebody could say something to you about anything. Maybe it's politics, or maybe it's making money, where there's people out in the world that believe, money is just the easiest thing to generate. And there's other people that don't believe they're deserving of money. Like, how can two people who are hardwired from birth to be successful have 280-degree competing attitudes about money? Well, this is how it happens. It's because we oftentimes become a product of our environment. We've got these thoughts in our conscious mind that we play out over and over and over again as we're growing up in this environment, and that's creating our unconscious beliefs, and that's driving 90 to 95% of our lives, okay? And then it's the same with our emotions. Those thoughts are driving our emotions, those conscious thoughts, which through repetition of those emotions, we're creating our attitude. That then leads to our actions, right? This is why I believe the linchpin of everything is your emotions, because your emotions ultimately are going to drive the actions that you take consciously, and then unconsciously, this is creating your behavior, okay? And then this is all leading to your results, right? Your thoughts drive your emotions, drive your actions, lead to your results. Okay, so how do you use this model practically out in the world, out in your life, as you're pushing to become a high performer? Well, you begin with the end in mind. You start with your results. If you're not achieving the results that you want to achieve right now in your life, whether that's in your business or in a corporate setting or some other project that you're leading, if the results aren't being achieved, and this might not just be with you, maybe there's a team involved here, okay? If the results aren't being achieved, you can come back to this model. You could even use this model with your team or with yourself or whoever you're working with and say, hey, let's talk through this. Let's reverse engineer this and figure out what's going on, okay? And then what you can do, and this is the action step, right? This is the action step. What you can do is you can reprogram your mind to do what? To remember that you're hardwired for success. You can literally reprogram your mind and unwind all of the negative thoughts through repetition. This is a key: repetition, repetition, repetition. Through repetition, and maybe this is through affirmations. This might be through you just removing toxic people from your life because they're putting these negative thoughts into your mind, telling you how you're not good enough or how you're always coming up short, or maybe they're just bringing a ton of negative energy into the environment, okay? So you have to have the emotional courage and the emotional intelligence to step into those moments and to protect your power, okay? And then through repetition, affirmations, self-development, reading books, listen to podcasts, coming on workshops and becoming part of the Successful and Fulfilled Summit and really soaking in what you're learning here. All of that stuff, all of that repetition is going to help you unwind the stuff that's holding you back and reprogram new beliefs, new attitudes, and new behaviors, okay? This is the foundation. But what you have to understand, and this is where a lot of people are challenged as I jump into this part of the presentation now, a lot of people are challenged because the unconscious mind is so ingrained. It's so powerful. So take a guy like me, for example, who's 40 years old. I've had, I probably had like 20, 25 years of just programming that I had to start to unwind to start to achieve the success that I wanted to achieve as a high-performing entrepreneur. It's been a journey. It's been a journey of peaks where I've had highs and I've had multiple six-figure months in my business. And it's been a journey of lows where I've been in the valley. I've been in the darkness. I've had less than $100 in my bank account. I've been depressed. I once had a military doctor when I was in the military prescribe me depression medication. I never ended up taking it, but I can remember going to the doctor and the doctor said, I think you're depressed. You need this medication, right? Why is that? It's because I was in liminal space. I was moving into a new high performance zone in my life, a new zone of prosperity. And I was moving through liminal space and I was experiencing all this tension. Okay. Now this is the part where I want to help you understand why I believe we were all programmed to fail. And I want you to hear me say this so that you can be aware of this idea so that you can use it to empower you to push through your liminal space, to unwind negative thoughts, to reprogram new thoughts, and to get into a new zone of prosperity. So the way I look at the idea of being programmed to fail is that when we were coming up through grade school, like when we were the most susceptible to being influenced, right? When we would look up to teachers, look up to mentors, look up to coaches, look up to whoever we were, was in our environment. But the commonality for all of us is going through, grade school, middle school, high school. And if you can think back to the environment that was created, it was an environment for most people where the ultimate goal was to get good grades, right? I mean, that was kind of the linchpin to all of this, was getting good grades. Now, think about, why did you want to get good grades? What happened in school when you got good grades? A lot of really positive things started to happen in your life when you got good grades, right? Your teachers would tell you how awesome you were, right? You'd get that test back, you had an A on it, and it may be a smiley face and a great job. And then if you did that consistently enough, you would get rewarded, with awards at school. I can remember, in grade school, getting like the math award and even like the reading award. Okay. And it was a big end of the year event where all the parents showed up and they called me up to the front. I was the one guy in my class that got awarded like the math award, and everyone was cheering and clapping. And, I was up there and I felt good and I got this award, right? So why were we so driven ultimately to get good grades in school? It's because one of the deepest desires we have as human beings that we all share is this desire to be loved, right? It all comes back to that, this desire to be loved. And so that desire was playing out in grade school, and the system that was set up for us that I believe programmed us unintentionally, but did program us to fail as high achievers, is that system basically said, hey, listen, the closer you get to perfection, the more love you're going to get in your life. The closer you get to that A+ on your test, the more that you're going to receive love. How do you receive love? Through awards, through, kind thoughts, right? If we're looking at this model here on the screen and the yellow centric circles, you get the kind, positive, inspiring thoughts from people who tell you how awesome you are, how smart you are, etc. And that leads to the positive emotions, which lead to the positive actions, which reinforces the results you're going after. But it all ties back to wanting to be loved. Conversely, what happens if you're consistently getting bad grades? Like if you're someone who just was wired to be a creative, for example, and your genius is creativity, it's not analytical and it's not going through standardized tests, and you're not really performing well in that system, and that system is telling you on your test you're a C student or a D student, right? What's the system telling you? Well, you're not getting awarded. There's not a lot of people telling you great job for getting a D, right? A lot of times parents or teachers are even getting on you. They're giving you the negative energy. They think you're lazy or whatever it might be. And now you're not getting that love you want. And you're having all this negative energy reinforced. But ultimately, the bottom line idea that's being reinforced here is that the closer you get to perfection, the more you're loved. And ultimately, that's what we all want as human beings at the end of the day, is to be loved. Okay, so now think about it. Now you're going through the schooling system, and now you become an employee, a 9-to-5 employee. How do you get loved as an employee? Well, you get employee of the month. You get pay raises, right? You get promotions. Those are big milestones of love that the 9-to-5 bestows upon us when we're doing well. And it's the same model, right? The closer you get to perfection as an employee, the closer you get to being perfect based on what your boss is telling you to do, the more of those positive rewards you're getting that are basically just reinforcing you're loved at work. And it goes the opposite as well. If you're moving away from perfection, right, you're definitely not getting raises. You're probably getting yelled at by your boss, and you may be getting fired, right? So it's this game of perfection is the point I'm driving to here. And now think about what happens when you wake up one day and you look in the mirror and you say, I'm going to start becoming a high performer because I realized I was hardwired for success. I realized my prosperity zone is 100x, 1,000x bigger than my comfort zone. And I was wired for success. And so I'm taking action. I'm going to push into the tension, right? What happens? Well, what happens as a high performer, as somebody who has made the decision to be an outlier, right? If you look at a bell curve and you've got the outliers at each end of the curve, you got the masses who are in the middle, the people who just play the system. They're not trying to be high achievers at all. They're just playing it safe on the way to their deathbeds. Well, you're moving to the right of the bell curve because you want to be a high performer. Well, what you have to understand, and this is why I'm sharing this model with you on the screen, what you have to understand is when you make the decision to do that, when you press into liminal space, you have to understand you're basically saying, bring the tension. Bring the tension. And you have to understand high performers become high performers by failing often and failing fast, okay? And that's kind of the takeaway here. Perfection is not rewarded in the world of high performance. And so now you've got these competing ideas emotionally, right, in your thinking. If we look at the model here on the left, the yellow model, you've got these thoughts that have been wired into you for many, many years around this idea of being perfect so that you can be loved, right? And so it's in the unconscious mind, it's so deep, it's so ingrained, you have to be aware of it so that when you start to step into that liminal space, you start to feel that tension and you start to fail and you start to feel like, oh man, I'm not going to be loved because I'm failing. You have to understand that's just a big lie. You want to have enough emotional intelligence and emotional courage, which is what I'm attempting to give you here through this workshop, is you have to have enough emotional intelligence and emotional courage to survive liminal space because you understand what you're feeling those emotions you're feeling, you are actually unwinding those emotions. And the only way you can unwind those emotions is to actually experience them again. So you're unwinding them to reprogram new emotions. And how do you do that? Well, you go out, you fail, you get back up, and you realize, wow, that I didn't die. I'm still here. I actually feel a little bit stronger from that failure. I actually feel, gosh, a little bit more courageous. I feel like I'm ready to maybe go press into that tension again. And now you're rewiring your thinking. You're reprogramming your thinking, which then leads to reprogramming your emotions, your actions, and then your results start to change. Okay? So what I want to do here to close out our thoughts today on this topic is I want to give you 10 top tips for not only surviving, but thriving in liminal space, in the tension. And that's what this is all about. At the end of the day, this all comes down to when this workshop is over and you wake up tomorrow, and hopefully you remember what I'm showing you on the screen right now, you wake up and you realize you were hardwired for success, and you've got a lot of prosperity out there that's waiting for you. And the only way you're going to get to that prosperity is if you make the conscious, willing, courageous decision to go live in tension. Okay, so how do you go do that? And how do you thrive in that tension? How do you thrive in that liminal space? Let me give you 10 quick tips. Tip number one, we've been talking about it. When you feel the tension, and we can feel it at the emotional level, right? We all know, like when maybe you're in a corporate setting and your boss says, hey, I'd like you to give a presentation next week, right? And you feel that tension. What I want to challenge you to do is run towards it, to understand that that tension is a calling in your life that's trying to pull you into your next zone of prosperity. See it for that. Don't feel the fear that you've been hardwired and programmed to feel. Be aware that when that feeling surfaces, you are unwinding that negative emotion to rewire and reprogram with positive emotion. The only way that's going to happen is if you say, yeah, boss, I'm all over it. Even if you're scared out of your mind inside, right? Which I've been many times, we've all been there. I want you to feel the fear and just go, I'm all in. I'm all in, and just press into that tension, okay? That's like, it's part of our internal success mechanism to do that. Okay, this is the part where I mentioned to you, I tell my clients the strongest steel must go through the hottest fire. I want you to remember that when that tension shows up, just be like, man, this is awesome. I'm scared out of my freaking mind. And this is one of those moments for me to grow and go into my next zone of prosperity, but I've got to push into this tension and then just to push into it, okay? The second tip I want to give you here is fall in love with the process, okay? Going through the liminal space, living inside this tension, it's a process, okay? And there's always a process for everything we do. And if your mindset is to become a high performer, to become someone who transforms into the best version of yourself, steps into a position of self-mastery and becomes limitless, there's a process to that that involves going through the tension. And so I want to encourage you to fall in love with the process. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, anxiety, any of those emotions that are wanting you to retreat back to your comfort zone, I want you to hear me say that even in those moments, you can find joy in those moments. You can find joy that will empower you to stay in love with the process in those moments, so you don't retreat, so you don't pull back to your comfort zone like most people do. Instead, you're going to push in even farther because you are falling in love with the process, because you understand the process. You now understand what's happening. Again, it's everything we're looking at here on the screen. This is the process of becoming a high performer. Okay, so fall in love with it. Tip number 3, play the perfect game. This one's an easy one. 3 rules to the perfect game. Rule number 1, whatever's offered to you, receive it. A lot of us have been programmed to not receive things. Like maybe you're out for dinner and you're with a friend and they say, hey, I'm going to pick it up. And you go, oh, no. No, I got it. Don't worry about it. Don't ever do that again. Okay, that is the universe conspiring to help you win. Don't repel it. That's an action, that's an emotion, that's a thought that you need to unwind and reprogram. And the way you do that is in that moment of tension, because again, this is a liminal space moment. Your friend says, hey, I got dinner. All of a sudden you feel tension around that. Oh, I'm not deserving of somebody else to give me their prosperity. It's unconscious, right? 90 to 95% of everything that happens to us is unconscious. We don't even realize it's happening. We think we're being polite, right? Because that's how we've been programmed. We think we're being, oh, you don't need to get it. No, you are repelling prosperity when you do that. You're telling the universe, I don't need your help. You're telling God, I don't need your help. I don't need your blessing here. You're sabotaging your own ability to become a high performer. So rule number one in the perfect game, whatever is offered to you, receive it. Just receive it. Just experience that, whatever that positive just experience is, just receive it. Okay. Rule number two, whatever is suggested to you, do it. Whatever is suggested, do it. Now, I'm assuming here you've got yourself surrounded with other high performers, people who are for you, they care about you. So whatever is suggested to you, do it. Just do it. I want you to play this game over the coming weeks. Be aware of what people are suggesting to you that you've invited into your environment, and just do it. Don't even question it. If it's suggested to you, trust that the universe or God is bringing that suggestion into your life for reasons to help you become a high performer, to achieve self-mastery. Just do it. And then rule number three, whatever happens to you, declare it perfect. So just yesterday, I was at Whole Foods. I was on a phone call getting out of my car. I left my keys in the car. I locked my keys in the car. I went into Whole Foods, got my stuff, came out. I was going up to my Explorer, and I was like, where are my keys? And I look in the window, there are my keys. And I've got all this stuff I got to get done, and I'm on my way to the office, and I had this moment. I was in liminal space, right? I was in tension, like boom, I was in tension. And in that moment, I was able to go, this is perfect. The universe or God is conspiring to help me win. And for whatever reason, God wanted me to have those keys locked in the car. I have no idea why. I may never know why. Maybe there was a car accident that was going to happen down the road if I would have gotten in my car at that moment and driven off. I don't know. And it doesn't really matter because I play the perfect game. Whatever is offered to you, receive it. Whatever is suggested to you, do it. Whatever happens to you, just declare it perfect. Okay, that's tip number three. Tip number four is you want to protect your energy. You want to protect your emotions at all costs. I believe emotions are the linchpin of everything that we do in our life. Okay, science has proven that we are all just energy vibrating at different levels. And what you'll find is that high achievers, high performers vibrate at a super high level, and you want to be vibrating at that level. Okay, you want to be vibrating at that level because you're going to attract other people who are vibrating at that level. That's only going to compound your prosperity. So you have to understand you are in control of your energy. You want to protect your energy and your emotions at all costs. How do you do that? You know, sometimes you just need to shut up. Like maybe you're in a moment where your spouse is yelling at you or upset with you or whatever, and they're pointing the finger, or maybe it's your boss, right? Or someone on the outside of you is trying to put negative energy into your environment. Under this tip, and because now you understand the process of unwiring negative emotions to rewire positive emotions, part of becoming a high performer is always being in 100% control of your emotions. Do not ever give other people the power over your emotions. And when you understand emotions are everything, emotions are the linchpin, don't ever let somebody pull you into a negative energy event. So sometimes you just need to shut the bleep up. Someone's yelling at you, berating you, accusing you of things that aren't true, whatever it might be. You just smile, you protect your energy, you understand the importance of doing that, and you have enough emotional, intelligent courage in that moment to execute tip number 4 here. Okay, tip number 5, take extraordinary ownership. This is an easy one. Extraordinary ownership is the idea that you are the cause of every effect in your life. No questions about it. No exceptions. This is the mindset of a high performer. This will help you protect your energy levels. This will help you stay in love with the process. This will help you unwire negative programming and rewire positive programming. This will help you survive the tension, thrive in the tension, and push through to the next level of prosperity that is waiting for you by believing that you are the cause of every effect in your life, no exceptions. Tip number 6, trust your intuition. Your intuition is your internal success beacon. I really believe if more of us would just trust our intuition, that we would be so much farther down the path of self-mastery and high performance and living a limitless life, okay? If we would just trust our intuition. So I want you to start paying more attention to that. And when you sense your intuition telling you to do something, I want you to have fun with that and just do it. Now, understand, because 90 to 95% of what's happening to you is at the unconscious level, and all of that's been programmed into you for years and years and years, and a lot of it is moving against your desire to become a high achiever and to transform, just understand that tension's going to show up. When your intuition starts to speak, boom, you're going to be thrust into liminal space, into this moment of tension. And because you know what we're talking about here, I want to encourage you to just press into that, entrust it, and be aware of what's happening and what happens as a result of you taking action on that. And I can guarantee you, you develop the habit to trust your intuition and act on it, your entire life will change on epic scales in a very, very positive way. Tip number 7, we talked about this already. Money doesn't lead, money follows value. The more you fall in love with the process, the more you push through the tension into further realms of prosperity, the more value you bring to the world. And guess what? Money doesn't lead, money follows value. Tip number 8, clean up your contradictions. So many people live in contradiction. Let me give you 2 quick examples. When I talk with clients, for example, they say, or prospects, I should say, in my business, they might say to me, Chris, this sounds great. I don't have the money. Okay. That's a contradiction. Okay. It's not that they don't have the money. It's that they don't have what? They don't have value. See, if they had value in the marketplace, they would have the money, right? So the issue is, I don't have the money. The issue is they don't have value. Where does value come from? Value comes from ideas. So the reality is they don't have a money problem. They've got an idea problem. So there's a contradiction there. They're walking around in their life saying, I don't have the money, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. It's like, no, that's not your challenge. Your challenge is you don't have the ideas. And that's why we're talking, right? That's why you and I are on this workshop talking to each other today. I'm giving you all these ideas to increase your value, to go out into the marketplace. And if you act on these ideas, I can guarantee you, sky's the limit. You will become limitless as an individual. It will happen, guaranteed. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's the same thing here with cleaning up your contradictions. You have to be able to identify the contradictions in your life and then clean them up. Another one is, I don't have the time. Okay. A lot of people tell me, Chris, this looks great. I just don't have the time. But I can guarantee if I were to do a time audit with them over the course of, say, 30 days, I would probably find that they're wasting time watching Netflix, wasting time surfing Facebook, wasting time surfing around in email, wasting time engaging in negative energy events that are just killing their energy and self-sabotaging their success. If we were to do a time audit, that's what would happen. And that would be a contradiction. To say, I don't have the time. No, it's not that you don't have the time. It's that you don't understand this model of success that we're talking about here, and you are self-sabotaging your time. So that's a contradiction. So one thing I want to point out when it comes to contradictions is the bigger the pain that you're living in, the bigger the contradiction. Now, there's a difference between pain and tension. Okay, we've been talking a lot about tension. This is healthy tension. This is what empowers us and equips us to go to the next level of prosperity in our lives. That's different from pain. Okay, the bigger your pain, or when you're experiencing pain, I should say, just remember there's a contradiction in your life. You got to identify what that contradiction is, clean it up, and keep pressing forward. Okay, tip number 9, cultivate your power. How do you cultivate your power? You basically do everything that we are talking about here. Let me give you some really quick tips. Obviously, practice all the tips we've talked about so far, but listen to music. Remember, if you really believe that we all are just energy and we're vibrating at different frequencies, then music's one of the best things you can do to just raise your frequency. Okay, listen to music, meditate, work out. Get up early and get the sweat on, get your heart rate up. That's how you cultivate your power. Eat healthy. Stop eating crap. Stop eating fast food. Stop eating fried food. Stop killing yourself with pop and candy and all that crap. Now, I have the fortunate, I'm fortunate as a guy who lives with a wife who's a whole nutrition therapist. And so she's my secret weapon. Otherwise, I'd probably be struggling in this area. But I can tell you one thing that's empowered me more to cultivate my power than anything else is what I'm eating. Okay, and it really does matter. You can go look up the vibrational frequencies of foods. And that will, if that doesn't open your mind, then I don't know what will. But foods affect your level of frequency. And so you want to be putting superfoods into your body that are going to raise your frequency. Okay, and then we already talked about shut up. Sometimes you just got to shut up. Don't give your power away by getting drug into negative emotional events. Another tip here is to cultivate your power. Be impossible to offend. Could you imagine going through the rest of your life being impossible to offend? Like you could not offend you. If I tried to offend you, I couldn't offend you. This is one that I'm really working on. I grew up in an environment where I was offended a lot. And so if we look at the model on the screen here, I had this negative programming wired into me that causes me to react negatively when I'm being offended. Okay, you give your power away when you get offended. Stop being offended. And then lastly, affirmations. We all know what affirmations are. I like to put affirmations on my cell phone, and in the morning when I'm going to the gym, I listen to my affirmations, and then I pause every affirmation. I say it out loud with power, with force, with conviction, with belief, and I get my energy levels up. I get my brain on fire, and then I'm rocking my day from the beginning. Okay, so that's some tips for cultivating your power. And then my last tip here: collapse time. Okay, collapse time. Never go alone. How do you collapse time? You work with a mentor. You get someone on the inner circle with you, someone who's a high performer, someone who thinks like what we're talking about now, someone who's going to help you with all of these tips, someone who's going to help you with everything we talked about, someone who's going to breathe life into you, inspire you, support you, be there to encourage you when you get sideways in the tension. Okay, this is how you collapse time. Why do we want to collapse time? Because money loves speed. Money loves speed. And if you got a weird mindset around money, you got to fix that, right? Because money is just a vehicle to get us to the financial independence and the time independence we want so that we can do what? So that we can go out in the world and put our dent in the universe, as Steve Jobs liked to encourage us to do. Money's the vehicle to do that. Okay, so if you got a weird thing about money, you got to fix that because you're just sabotaging all that in your life. But how do you do that? You collapse time, you work with high performers, and another reason this is important is because you can't live in liminal space forever. Okay, like when you go into the tension, you can't just live in tension. You'll get killed, mentally. You'll get killed. You need a mentor, someone who can help push you through the tension, through that liminal space to your next breakthrough, to your next prosperity zone by collapsing time. Okay, it'll be the best investment you ever make to work with a mentor. Okay, so never forget, as I'm wrapping up my thoughts here, never forget that you are hardwired for success. You don't have to learn success. You don't have to learn success. You just have to remember it, and you do that by reprogramming. So my closing thoughts here on how to transform into the best version of yourself, how to achieve mastery and live a truly limitless life. My closing thoughts are, let me give you a book recommendation. I always like to model, effective behavior coming out of a training like this, which is self-development. And people always say, Chris, do you have any books you'd recommend? So let me just throw this one out there, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. If you haven't read this book, go read that book. You can see here on the screen, I'm willing to, as part of this Success and Fulfilled Summit, I'm willing to offer a free consultation to anyone that maybe wants to talk about these things maybe at a deeper level, or maybe take one of these topics deeper, or anything you want to talk about when it comes to this topic. If that's something you're interested in, you can see here on the screen, you can just text my name, Chris, C-H-R-I-S, to 408-913-6963. If you'd like to take advantage of the free consultation, just text Chris to 408-913-6963. My closing thoughts here are this. You are wired to be on offense. Don't ever let anyone try to reprogram your thinking in any other way. God wired you to be on offense. Another way I like to look at this is to be on the attack. You are wired, hardwired from birth. Now, that's probably not going to feel comfortable for a lot of people because of all the negative programming that's happened to us. But I want you to hear me say, you are wired to be on offense. Let me give you some tips to do that. Tip number one, be unreasonable. Start being unreasonable. George Bernard Shaw said this. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. George Bernard Shaw, by the way, was a political activist. George Bernard Shaw said, the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. So be an unreasonable person, and that starts with your thinking. So everything we've been talking about today, there's probably been some tension in some of the ideas I've shared with you. Start to be unreasonable in your current thinking so that you can transform that. Okay, tip number two, have vision. One of my favorite books has a saying where they say, where there is no vision, the people will perish. I take that literally. Have vision, not only for yourself, but you want to have a vision for your life. And when you have vision, people will want to follow you. Okay? People want to follow people with vision. This is why vision is so important. So you got to get a vision for your life. Tip number 3, be a light on the hill. Take this training and go be a light on the hill for other people. There's so many people out in the world right now. They're down in the valley. They're down in the darkness. They don't understand the stuff we talked about here today. They don't understand falling in love with the process. They don't understand they were hardwired for success. They don't understand that they were born to be on offense. They don't understand any of this. They don't even understand the model for how to get themselves out of it. Okay? So I believe it's your duty, it's your calling as someone who has a sincere desire to be a high performer. You are now a light on the hill. Go out into the world, share this with other people, share your gifts with other people, share your power with other people, be a light on the hill for them. Okay, tip number 4, have a motto. Why do I think it's good to have a motto? Because you can make t-shirts and hats and have fun with it. And it's one way to be a light on the hill for people, to be a force of energy for people. If you want to borrow my motto and use it, you can do it. This is my motto: be hard to kill, easy to love, and impossible to forget. Be hard to kill in your mind mentally. Be hard to kill with everything we're talking about. Remember, what we're talking about here today is contrarian. It's counterintuitive. It's unreasonable. 99% of people do not operate this way in the world. So the minute we get off this workshop and you go back into the world, you're going to already be in tension. You have to protect that. You have to be mindful of that. You have to be hard to kill up here in the mind, but you got to be easy to love, right? You don't want to go into conversations and create negative energy events, right? We've already talked about the importance of your energy. You got to protect it. You got to cultivate your power. Just be easy to love, and then be impossible to forget. Whatever that looks like for you, be impossible to forget. And then my last tip here is the Superman question. What would have happened had Superman never gotten out of the phone booth? What would have happened? My answer is this: nothing would have happened. And quite frankly, what a tragedy, because the greatest superhero of all time would have never been written into the history books. And so that's my closing thought for you today, my friend, which is you were wired to live outside the phone booth every single day, every moment of every single day. Don't play it safe on the way to your deathbed. So many people are hiding in the phone booth. They're hiding in the corner of their phone booth, door shut, and the days come and go, and they just hide and hide and hide. They play it safe. They live in comfort. They don't want to get out of the phone booth and go out into the big, world of opportunity and risk and take the adventure. You're obviously here participating in this summit because you were called into this and you chose to show up. I want to honor you for that. I want to applaud you for that. I want to breathe life into you for making the decision to be here. And I want to encourage you, once this workshop is over, when you go back into your world, that you just remember nothing can happen until you get out of the phone booth, and your story needs to be told. It needs to be told. I believe it's your duty to get out of your phone booth and share your power, your light with the world. So on that note, let me just say in closing, thanks for your trust in showing up to this workshop. I want you to know I don't take it for granted. It's been an honor to have the opportunity to lead you through a model for transforming into the best version of yourself so that you can achieve mastery and live a truly limitless life. It's been an honor to do that. I believe if you take this to heart, that you are not only going to transform yourself, but you are going to create major, major impact out in the world with everybody and anybody that ever crosses your path. And that is my hope and wish for you. I pray that my ceiling would be your floor, and I wish you all the best and prosperity. And I can't wait until our paths cross again somewhere out in the universe. Bye for now.
Hi, I'm Kim Warren-Martin, and I'm the founder of Successful and Fulfilled, where our mission is to help women to embrace the courage I know you already have to step out of your comfort zone and live life the way you want to live, not just the way you're expected to live. It's not about leaving your job, your family, or school, or any of that. It's about launching into what I call the #undeniable you. So if you want to be a part of a mastermind and enjoy the type of training and support you're receiving now, where experts talk about components of self-mastery, business principles, and wealth building, if you're looking to make sure you're connected to a resource that is all about supporting you to live a successful and fulfilled lifestyle, come on over to www.successfulandfulfilled interview.com now. I want to meet with you to make sure it's a good fit. If you want to be a part of this movement of individuals dedicated to not only the emotional state of happiness, but also the soulful state of fulfillment, I invite you to a private conversation to make sure you learn more about us and we learn more about you. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. It is a great way for me to learn more about what you want to be successful, about what you need to be fulfilled, and what's most important to you in your life. This is a highly customized membership, so we are very selective. And so I want to meet with you to be sure it's a good fit for both of us. If you're ready to share your talents, your skills, your treasure, your expertise so someone else can live a successful and fulfilled life, this is the place to be. Maybe you want to share your story, or maybe you're called to serve others. If you want to collaborate, network, and connect with a group of women who have this one guiding belief: you don't have to sacrifice your success for fulfillment, nor do you have to sacrifice your fulfillment for success. You can #have it all, as long as you're the one who defines what it all is. So I invite you to come over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com. Make sure you register and I'll see you there. Now you may be wondering, why do I care? Why do I do what I do? Well, my big why is to help women all over the world live life the way they want to live, the way they're called to live, the way they're created to live, the way they're purposed to live, and the way they're destined to live, not just the way they're expected to live. George Washington Carver said, "No individual has any right to come into the world and go out of it without leaving distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it." Growing up, I was absolutely convinced that singing and dancing on Broadway and being in movies in Hollywood were my distinct and legitimate reasons for being here. I could already see my name in lights and experiencing the costume changes, etc., etc. I even planned to go to performing arts school for college, but was waiting on the perfect time to announce it to my parents. Now, when I was a senior in high school, my parents invited me into the living room one night because they had an announcement of their own. They said that according to the Wall Street Journal, engineering and computing careers would be some of the top careers of the future. So because I was the oldest and because I was a role model, they were going to send me to engineering school. Now, all I could think of, my 18-year-old self was just like, how am I going to get an Oscar at engineering school? Literally, I felt like my entire life rested on that moment. Now, no amount of respectful rejecting could change their mind. So I went to school. I went to engineering school, and 2 years and 8 months later, I came out with a Bachelor of Science degree. Yes, I did, in a short time. And what I thought I had was my freedom. I thought that paper gave me my freedom and would please my parents. But I got a job, a real job. The money got good. I got promoted. The perks were awesome. I did well. And I was a wonderful role model, and my sisters followed closely in my footsteps. So there I was, a very artsy, analytical person in a scientific, technical world. And someone realized that about me, called me up one night, and invited me to run the Women's Initiative for this multinational corporation. So my role was to help women get to the top on the technical side and on the business side. So I thought about it a couple of days, and I said yes. And I did that globally. And I was literally told I changed the face of the corporation. One day I was working with a woman who actually told me no. She didn't want to get to the top. Now, I was absolutely shocked, but deep inside, I totally understood her. And all I could hear was my dream asking me, you know, Kim, you spent all this time helping all these women get to where we want them to be, but you never stop to ask yourself, where do you want to be? I had completely lost sight of my dream. And at that moment, I realized that the only thing the role model in me was demonstrating was how to live life the way I was expected to live, not the way I wanted to live. I was successful, yes, but I was unfulfilled. And for me, that was a defining moment. You see, I still love the arts, but what I realized is that the singing, the dancing, the acting were more about freedom for me, not entertainment. Freedom of expression, freedom of being, freedom of doing. And working with women all over the world, I have come to realize that every woman was born to live in a soulful state of fulfillment. And ladies, we can do it. because fulfillment is not a fantasy, it's a formula. And what I do know is I am not alone. There are other women out there like me who want to live a successful and fulfilled life. So is that you? If so, here's what I want you to do. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com and let's have a conversation. I really, really look forward to seeing you there.